Are you a hardcore gamer but also work on a computer all day? Well, you could end up like this. Okay, maybe not that bad, but maybe like this?
Well, give the man a hand.
Or maybe like this? Okay, maybe not that bad, but if you're a gamer that suffers from tendinitis, this video is for you. If you're getting older and have been slamming on buttons your whole life, it could definitely catch up to you, but have no fear, you can still game well into your golden years.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
In this video, I'm gonna go over my history with tendinitis of the hands and how I've managed to stay gaming all these years in spite of my injuries. I'm gonna go over all your different options for controllers, what games you can play, what are your limitations, what to avoid, and how to reduce the stress and fatigue on your hands so you can still play the games that you love. So yeah, man, I've had tendinitis in my hands for quite a long time, man. It's really been bad. It's in my index finger and in my thumbs. Started a long time ago. I consider my hands kind of broken, you know, like I can't game like I used to. Can't type on a keyboard or use a mouse properly like I used to. It comes from repetitive stress and, of course, not taking care of yourself, drinking too much, improper diet. Of course, doing any kind of job that has like vibration stress and things like that. But if you're working at an office job all day and then you come home and drink beer and play video games, and if you're a pianist, like I'm a pianist too, so if you're like playing a musician, if you're pressing buttons all the time and you do that for a prolonged period of time, it is eventually going to catch up to you. And it did with me. It did with me back in 2016. I'm 48 now, so what was I? I would have been 39. Like, I used to be a total PC gamer, and I worked at an office job, and I would work all day on my keyboard, and then I would come home at night and play Battlefield, and play other PC games, and just be on it all night long, you know, enjoying a few beers, and I did that day in, day out, and just, you know, like, and I can type really fast, like, I can really hammer on the keyboard, and when I hammer on it, I'm just, you know, and over, you know, that adds up over time. And eventually it catches up to you. And so eventually my hands gave out back in 2016. I remember having to call my boss and say, I can't touch the keyboard anymore. It hurts too much. It causes a shooting pain up my hand. And I got to stop my physical limitation. And so I went on disability and I was off for, I don't know, 3 months or something like that. And they put me back on a gradual return to work and my hands were really sore and they had to give me an accommodation and give me I remember trying to use a laser keyboard where you project this laser onto a pillow and try to type on the keys. And then they gave me a touchpad with an iPad, and back then the voice to text wasn't very good, so you couldn't use that. I said, thanks so much, warm regards. What? And I slowly had to nurse my hands back to health. But during that disability, I made a really tragic mistake. I was playing Battlefield, and I missed it. I couldn't game, like it took gaming away from me, and I was such an addicted gamer at the time. All I wanted to do was game. It was my obsession and my passion. I'm like, dude, I just want to game. And so I was trying to find ways to do it, and my hands were hurting, and you'd be touching the keyboard, and you press the mouse back, ow, like it gives you a little pain, like right here, right there, right at the joint where your index finger connects. And I had let it rest for like 4 weeks, and I was starting to get the itch, and I went, okay, I'm going to play this game, man. And I sat down, had a few beers, and I played for a while, and I started to get pain after about 30 minutes, and I was like, come on, man, it's like, whatever. And I just kept going, and I pushed through the pain, and I regret that so badly, because I was under the false impression that your body would just heal and you would bounce back, but that's not the case. Your body does not bounce back. I now, to this day, have a permanent injury with that index finger. I can't play with a normal mouse. I can't play Diablo or play shooters with a mouse and keyboard unless I'm using a special mouse that is easy on my finger, and I don't use my index finger anymore, I use my middle finger because I've shattered this finger from using it too much. So I did that back in like 2016, went back to work, things got back to normal, I seemed to be okay, but of course I continued to work all day, continued to pound away at my keyboard, and I couldn't really play PC games anymore, so I switched over to console, and I was playing on the PlayStation. I PlayStationed away, and I played all my shooters on the PlayStation. I played Battlefield there, and I played, you know, my Dark Souls games, and I played so many other games, played games with my wife, Red Dead Redemption.
Fine day to you.
lots of other titles. And then I remember we were playing Ghost of Tsushima on the PS5, and we sat and did a marathon session all day long. And by the end of that day, my thumb went numb, and I actually lost the ability to wiggle my thumb for a little while. And that was crazy, man. Never been through anything like that. And I couldn't wiggle my thumb for a good 6 months. And they were going to do surgery and take a piece of my finger and attach it over here, the tendon, and butcher me up so that I could re-wiggle my thumb again. But through the grace of God, it healed on its own, which was amazing. So after that, I now have problems with my thumbs. If I play games with thumbsticks, because I played so much for, the period from 2016 to now, I became a total console gamer playing thumbstick-based games, and the thumbsticks slowly eroded the joint at the base of my hand. It's from repetitive stress, it's from aging, and it's also from drinking. I like to drink my beer. I drink way too much. I've been a lifelong drinker, and that really messes up your joints. And so that screwed up my hands even worse. And so I had to go back off on disability again last year, because it came back, like 8 or 9 years later. And it's been an ongoing problem where now my hands are at the point where I can't type on a keyboard. I can't use a regular mouse. And if I do, I use my middle finger. I can't use my index finger. The index finger on this side is also pretty bad, although I can still do WASD gaming, but I just had to be light a little bit with the turning with the D. And I have to use special controllers for gaming. I can't play really fast, spammy games like Devil May Cry. Can't play those anymore. Anything that's really hard on your hands, I can't go for long marathon gaming sessions anymore. There's been lots of times where I've had to take breaks from Call of Duty, and this is what happens when you get older, and if you've been stressing your hands for a long time, this is what happens. And I just wanted to tell my story and tell other people about what happens to your hands. I use a lot of arcade sticks, I use special mice, I use disability controllers, I use foot pedals. The Xbox created a disability controller, and PlayStation created a disability controller, and I got an Elgato foot pedal, and I've got this old stinky board pedal that was amazing, and I've got, you can use steering wheels, motion controls, and you can use special mice. Where's the one I brought? Here, this one. I got this really amazing trigger mouse that operates kind of like you're pointing a firearm. Has a trigger, but this doesn't hurt my hand as much. Otherwise, I use one of these. And then for controllers, I always have to have the paddles on the back because L3 and R3, like my thumbs aren't good. I'll often play like this. And then when it comes to the combat part, I'll go up like this and play, and then I'll go back to this. But I can't click on L3 or R3. So L3 to sprint is a problem. I can tap them, but I can't hold them. And so I have to have a tap to sprint. I can't have a hold to sprint. A lot of the older games, they don't have that. They don't have any of those accessibility options. So they only have press to hold, and I can't. And you'll see it on some of my live streams. I'm trying to play like Battlefield and other games, and I'm trying to run, but you have to press and hold down the left stick, and I can't do it. Okay. Now, I'd like to sprint now, but it hurts too much to do that. If they just put a click to sprint, like click to hold, same way like... So with a mod like this, you just use your middle finger instead, and you don't have to stress your thumbs. So I always have those. They have them on the Steam Deck. That's a special PS4 mod that was actually officially licensed by PlayStation. Before that, I used a third-party one that was wired to the system. Otherwise, I'm limited in what I can press because it has too much stress on my hands. And then other than that, I also use a lot of arcade sticks. Arcade sticks are amazing, but it has to have all the buttons. A standard arcade stick is built for a fighting game, like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. And it will have the left stick, maybe D-pad only, not even left analog, and it will have the face buttons and the triggers, but it won't have L3 or R3, it won't have touch button on your PlayStation, and it won't have the right stick, and it might not even have the left stick. So you want to get an arcade stick that allows you to toggle between, like the left stick can control either the D-pad, the left analog stick or the right analog stick, so that if I'm playing a game that needs an input from one of those inputs, I still have it with this. And then it's also got start select, and it's got, well, this is on a PlayStation button, it's got an Xbox one, but I've also got a really expensive PlayStation one that has a touchpad on it too. And if you have those extra inputs, it opens you up to a whole bunch of new games. You're not just playing fighting games anymore. Now you can play Metroidvania games. Like I've been playing Hollow Knight Silksong with an arcade stick. So yeah, I mean, when your hands are really bad, you can't really play a lot of 3D games anymore because you need to be able to use both thumbsticks for that, right? You need the right stick to control the camera. So you end up getting largely stuck on 2D games. You can play all the side scrollers like Mario. You can play old arcade games like the Metal Slug series, I know, for example. I can play, Double Dragon. You can play Diablo-style games because it's isometric and the camera just hovers above you. You can play God of War-style games, right? Because the camera's fixed. You don't have to worry about that. You can totally play those. You can play fighters. You can play puzzle games. You can play shoot-'em-ups, right? The really brutal arcade bullet hell shoot-'em-ups. You can totally play all those. You can play all the retro arcade games. And I play racing games with steering wheels. I have a flight stick that I can play flying games with. And of course, there's VR motion controls. And you just have to be careful and know what your limitations are. Like certain games will stress you and you can't play those. But other games you can totally play. And you go around and you try the different options. And you'd be surprised. There's still a really wide variety of games that you can play if you have this kind of problem. And I know, I'm going to hear from all the young people that I'm just an old geezer and you laugh at me and think this is a problem that you're not going to have to deal with. I think you'd be surprised, man. I grew up with gaming. I was born in 77. I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s. I was right there for when the NES dropped with Mario and Zelda, and I grew up loving gaming from the jump.
We're starting now, okay? I'm going to put this here, and when I'm finished opening all my presents, we can hook it up right there, okay? Here's Double Dragon.
Christine's opening your stocking bag.
Here's Double Dragon. Thank you very much for all. Shinobi and Double Dragon. For the second.
I was playing Doom when it came out. I was on the internet doing multiplayer Doom before anybody played first-person shooters. So I am a lifelong hardcore shooter. And I think there's a whole generation of Gen Xers who grew up like me and went through this, who at this age are starting to have problems. If they're a hardcore enough gamer, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. There's got to be tons of other people out there who've gone through this. I know when I was at the office, I would see lots of people with, crazy different mice and accommodations to handle their disabilities. And I know that even PlayStation and Xbox put out specific disability controllers, and there's foot pedals out there. So, but those seem like they're more for people who have medical issues or have been through an injury or whatnot and have hurt themselves. But just working in an office all day and being a technology person and slamming on keys all day and then coming home and slamming on a video game controller for hours and hours at night and doing that day in, day out for years and years, it definitely catches up with you. And it can happen to all of us. I know even when I was doing physiotherapy, they would say that the vast majority of their clients were people that worked in an office all day. Messes up your back, messes up your posture. People get a lot of problems with their hands and forearms, carpal tunnel. It's very common. You'd be surprised. So you can laugh at me all day, but trust me, your day's coming, man. If you're here and you're as hardcore as I am, man, this could come for you. So, but have no fear. You can still game. The end, it's not the end. There's ways, and that's what I'm here to try and help you with. So when my hands get really bad and they get really sore, I have to stay away from normal shooter games. Like I can't do regular mouse and keyboard with a shooter unless I have a special mouse and I'm careful with it. I can't do shooters on a controller. I can't do anything that's really intense, but I've learned to work within my limitations, and you totally can do it. And, and the lesson from a lot of it is, number one, your body does have limitations. Number two, you need to listen to your body. If it's telling you that if you're starting to have pain, stop, trust me, and it's worth it. You'll come back stronger tomorrow. Also, try to quit drinking alcohol. That really weakens you. It weakens you from the inside out. The formula for having tendinitis for your hands is to drink and party and weaken yourself from the inside while you stress yourself from the outside with continuous repetitive stress. That's how you end up in this condition. But, not all is lost. I plan to game well into my older years. I'm 48. I plan to be around for another 30, 35, 40 years, who knows, and beyond. And I plan to game all the way through. So you find ways to do it. Anyway, I'm going to be doing an entire series on gaming with tendinitis, how to handle your symptoms, what to look for. I'm going to do a series on the different controllers I use. I'm going to do a series on arcade sticks, on what games are open up to you when you have limitations. I'll look at the disability controllers. So stay tuned. And, if you're somebody that struggles with this, then I'm going to have a lot of great content for you. So if you like the content, like and subscribe. We'll talk soon.